If dragons were more than just a myth, and the fact that nearly every human culture has a story about them more than just a strange coincidence, then the discovery of a well-preserved body, frozen for centuries in glacial ice, could tell scientists how dragons lived. But the story of how dragons finally died is already written. The engravings, drawings, and sculptures that survive from our own history. These were not works of primitive imagination. These were records, first-hand accounts made by people who lived alongside dragons and fought them. The scene discovered in the cave high in the Carpathian Mountains, the body of a dragon and the burned and blackened remains of 15th century warriors, this encounter is remembered in the folk history of the region. Dragon iconography, Romania, the stained glass windows of a medieval church. A winged creature that dwelled in remote mountain areas, raiding livestock and breathing fire. The story of the final conflict with the creature the locals called the Devil from the Mountain. Scientists autopsying the dragon body now begin to look for clues to how this conflict played out. A post-mortem analysis of the more than 500-year-old human remains is a quick study. The cause of death is seared into their parched, leathery skin. Carbon residue. These men were burned alive. But the dragon is a less straightforward investigation. While scientists have proved that this animal could breathe fire and that it was endowed with a sophisticated fire apparatus, what puzzles them is that it doesn't look like this particular dragon ever turned on its ignition. The mouth shows no sign of carbonized residue, no sign of any exposure to intense heat. For an animal that's supposed to breathe fire, this comes as a surprise. Earlier scans detected non-organic matter embedded in the right atrium of the heart. The cause of death for this dragon, now no longer a mystery. They remove an iron fragment. The fractured tip of a sword. But subsequent scanning gives them a shock. The reproductive system. Scientists are able to determine that the dragon is a female, yet there is no evidence of follicular activity. The reproductive tract is immature. This is only a young dragon. It was still a baby when it was killed. And if it didn't breathe fire, as the autopsy suggests, then that means something else killed the men found in the ice cave. Another dragon's fire torched those men. Scientists have discovered evidence that none of the legends has recorded. Dragons had parental care. Dragons guarded their young. It is the 15th century, and a mountain dragon is under siege. The distant ancestors of this female mountain dragon first emerged from the waters to the east, following the great mammoth caravans crossing over the plains below. But the mammoths have long since disappeared. Dragons are disappearing too. Human pressures have forced them into the highest and most remote parts of their range. The territory this female patrols is still just beyond the reach of humans. But food in this remote world is scarce. Today she's on a hunt for the rarest creature on Earth. But she's not looking for prey. She's looking for a mate. She leaves her scent throughout her territory. Strong winds carry the pheromones south. Normally, female dragons are reproductively mature by their 7th year. This female is nearly 23 years old, and in all her life she has never seen a male dragon. She may yet live another 20 years, longer if she's lucky. She's still at her peak, but if she's to contribute to the ebbing dragon population, she must find a mate soon. Young dragons remain with their mothers for as long as 6 years. Such an extended period of parental care historically ensured a high survival rate of their offspring. But now, with their numbers so low, dragons aren't reproducing fast enough to keep their population stable. The species is slipping away. The female returns to her den. It is a cave melted from dense glacial ice. Despite the freezing cold outside, in here the temperature is relatively warm. Like an igloo, the thick walls retain heat. But mountain dragons have other lines of defense against the cold: a heat-exchanging circulatory system and a highly stratified layer of tissue under their scales help minimize heat loss. And from her marine ancestors, she's inherited a blood protein similar to that of polar fish. Specialized proteins found in this Antarctic ice fish prevent the formation of ice crystals in the bloodstream, so the blood continues to flow and the fish can remain active even in freezing water. This genetic inheritance has proved vital to mountain dragons as they retreat into ever more remote areas in their attempts to avoid humankind. Soon it will be fall, and the female will begin shutting down and going into torpor, slowing her metabolism during the coldest months of the year, another adaptation for life in this extreme environment. But something outside draws her attention. A sound both strange, yet uncannily familiar, brings her to the opening of the cave. Against the odds, a male mountain dragon has picked up her scent. He's a nomad who has wandered from the Atlas Mountains of North Africa, where mountain dragons have now all but vanished. Crossing into southern Europe, he's made his way to the Carpathians in search of a territory and a mate. The dwindling dragon population has driven this male on a 10-year quest to find a female, and now at last he has found her. The female's instinct takes over, and she does what her kind has done for thousands of years. In an age-old aerial display, she leads her suitor on. But her beguiling acrobatics serve another purpose, for this solitary and suspicious female is about to set the male the ultimate test. It is a courtship ritual that is as perilous as it is spectacular. At the height of her climb, she will lock talons with him and drop out of the sky in a dazzling free fall, just like bald eagle pairs still do today. And with their bond, a small flicker of hope for the continuation of the species.